Suella Braverman is essentially committed to her Rwanda plan. I think a lot of us might well agree with that that's a way forward to help stop the flow of illegal migrants coming over in boats. To do that, of course, those illegal migrants that come over have to be housed somewhere until you can get them on the planes, assuming we're able to get them on the planes. In fact, we should just get them on the planes, to hell with what the ECHR say. We could be French about it and do that. And actually, I suspect quite a lot of people would agree with that, until it comes to your own backyard, if you like. And I thought it'd be interesting to get the view of a campaigner who's really trying to stop the derelict prison near him being turned into a migrant accommodation centre down in Sussex. Because it's easy for us to talk in general terms, but if these centres are built, I'm interested to learn what the consequences are of that for local people and why they might oppose them. So I'm very pleased to welcome Jeff Newnham, who's a campaigner for exactly that, Northeye prison near Bexhill in Sussex. Welcome.
Hello there, Nick. How are you doing?
Very well. Thank you for joining me. I suppose why I'm really interested in this is that it's very easy, particularly for politicians and even ex-politicians like myself, to talk about the general terms of something without realising actually everything is local. It has a consequence somewhere. So could you perhaps just set out your elevator pitch as to why you are opposing what many people might think is a really good idea, to turn a prison into an accommodation centre?
OK, well, first of all, I want us to understand fully the site that the government proposed to develop. It's a disused site. It wasn't a prison. Well, it was a prison up until the late 80s, when it became then a military training base for UAE. But it's been disused for the last 10 years or so. The site itself, if you're a developer, has some inherent problems with contamination. In fact, a report from the local council in 2015 said that any development on the site would necessitate a complete levelling of the site. So they bought a site that has problems. They gave...
This is the government, I take it.
The government, sorry.
Yeah.
The government. So they gave the company that bought it just 1 year prior to that, they gave that company a £9 million profit on the site in less than a year. And the previous owners had done nothing with it except buy it, hang on to it, and then sell it to the government, making £9 million. So it's got some problems. There's some question marks over whether they should have handed such a big profit to a private company. And the fact of the matter is that there was no need for them to buy it, because 10 miles away, there's a 17-acre site that is surplus to requirements and is up for sale by the Department of Transport. So, you know, you can either use some land you've got, or you can buy some land that's got some problems.
So a waste of money argument, understand that.
Absolutely, fiscal irresponsibility.
And we need every penny we can get. In terms of proximity to where you and your campaigners, fellow campaigners, is it close to your village, your town? How close is it?
OK, the site is on the edge of a residential estate, which is on the edge of a very small hamlet called Little Common, which is on the edge of Bexhill-on-Sea. Part of the site borders a Ramsar site, which is a internationally recognised wetlands. So that's if you get the general idea of where it's positioned.
So what would the impact be? You may not have a number, but do you have any idea of how many people would be housed there, asylum seekers would be housed there? And what do you estimate the impact to be of such a site being fully utilised? OK, well, there's several questions there. So I'll take the first one. The numbers. The government, when it was first announced back in April, said that there will be 1,200 18 to 30-year-old males that will be there as an accommodation centre. And that's the important phrase, an accommodation centre. Yeah, they're not detained behind bars, are they?
That's right. They're free to roam. So we kicked off about that, and we launched our legal campaign and did a pre-action protocol to the Home Office. By now, by September, the Home Office has said, back in April, that there would be 400 housed by September. Well, that's been and gone, and they're still surveying the site. So, there's irresponsibility there. The impacts on the environment would be such that, well, the immediate impact that has already been felt, actually, that since the government announced that, people that have tried to sell their property on the housing estate that it borders and on surrounding properties, that's been cut by half. So initially, the initial impact, just on the government saying what they're going to do, has led to people having half the value of their properties wiped off. So that, you know, that's just crazy. It just goes beggars belief, really, how irresponsible the government has been just on that there's been no recompense or compensation on people losing such vast quantities of their hard-earned money.
In terms of your campaign, presumably you're trying to marshal local advocates to get behind you. Is it a, how can I put this? I mean, it's not going to be 100% united, but have you got, if you like, key leaders behind you on this campaign, or are you facing local opposition where people are going, well, look, this is a national problem, we've got to play our part?
That's a very, very interesting phraseology there. The keen advocates have been the residents. They've been almost unanimous in them saying, you know, this is just the wrong site at the wrong place. Bexhill-on-Sea in Little Common is a residential area, a lot of old people. It's a place where people come to retire, and it's often said that their parents live in Eastbourne. You know, it's a very old generation here. So there's been an equality impact that, you know, people should be able to have or appreciate a nice standard of living, you know, in their retirement, and then they've selected a quiet area to actually do that.
What about your MP and leaders of the council? Where do they stand?
Well, where they stand depends on where they sit, to coin a phrase from Yes Minister. Hugh Merriman, our MP, has been very conspicuous by his absence throughout this. The only thing that he has said when it was initially announced is that, you know, he doesn't oppose it. Well, if you don't oppose it, then you're for it. However, he does have collective responsibility as he's on...
He's a minister.
He's a minister for trains. Yeah. Another failed project of the government.
OK, we won't get into that.
No, absolutely. But they're going to fail on this project also.
OK.
This project will
fail. Your
fail.
local council, what's their view?
The local council have been equally as quiet. And
that must be disappointing, isn't it?
No, it is to be expected. I mean, if they can't even fix the potholes in the road, they're not going to fix something as important as this. So you cannot trust them with that. So we have to beat the government in court, which is why we started the crowdfunding for legal expenses. And we reached out and we engaged some solicitors, and that's all going ahead.